Welcome to Freedom from Fire. As always, we'll give you a glimpse into the Philadelphia Fire Department and show you how we operate. Today, you'll get to meet the newest and one of the cutest members of the Fire Marshal's office, Agnes, the ATF certified detection dog. She and her handler are here to talk about why fire dogs are vital to what we do. And it's a Merry Christmas, but could turn dangerous if you're not careful. We're talking to a member of our fire prevention team about trees, lights, and candles. Stay here for Freedom from Fire. Hello, and welcome back to Freedom from Fire. I'm your host, firefighter Camila Bayete-Taylor. I am currently stationed in our department's Fire Prevention and Code Division, where community risk reduction efforts are a primary goal. Here at Freedom from Fire, we aim to improve your quality of living by giving you fire and life safety information. We also introduce you to our local safety partners. For the first half of our show, we are joined by Lieutenant Dan Cliggett and brand new fire dog, Agnes. They're with the Fire Marshal's office. All right, so Lieutenant Cliggett.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Agnes.
Agnes.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Come here. Come on.
Oh, that got her going.
Yeah. She get a little excited.
Yes.
She'll be all right. Come on, lay down.
All right. So, Lieutenant Cliggett, tell us a little bit about yourself and your role with the fire department.
My name's Dan Cliggett. I'm a lieutenant in the Fire Marshal's office. I've been here since August of 2019. I've been a member of the fire department since March of 2001. Currently, I just shifted jobs from a regular line investigator to now part of the special investigation unit with the Fire Marshal's office and a new canine handler with Agnes here.
Great. Okay, so Agnes, that is a good segue into what a fire dog is. So explain to us, with our viewers as well, what a fire dog is.
So Agnes is what they call an accelerant detection canine. She goes through a rigorous program down at the ATF Canine Division in Front Royal, Virginia. And they learn basically how to identify different types of ignitable liquids for, arson fires. Sometimes when we have an arson fire, the dog can be deployed and they will go into the fire and smell around the area and find the best place for us to take a sample for evidence. And then we'll take the sample, package that sample, and then the sample will be sent out to a lab for chemical analysis.
Okay, excellent. So in terms of fire dogs, I mean, you explained kind of why they're very important to the fire department and what we do. Can you explain what it would look like if, say, we didn't have fire detection dogs? What an investigation would look like, and why?
Well, the investigation part would still be conducted the same way. She's basically a tool, so we use her to pretty much seal up when we have an arson to say that there was an accelerant used. Okay. So when we go to court, you have to put on your case of how you conducted your investigation. There's a lot of things that go into the testifying part of it, but having another piece of evidence really helps with the case.
Excellent. So when did Agnes come into the picture?
So Agnes, we just got back from training on November 9th. Okay. So our first response was on November 11th, but Agnes has been at this since just, I guess, the beginning of August. The beginning of August, she was taken down to the Canine Division for the ATF, and she began her training. And then I joined her October 1st, and we were teamed up, I guess it was October 5th. So she's been with me 24/7 since October 5th.
Wow, and what was the process in terms of her even being selected to go through that particular training?
So the way it works, there's numerous different agencies that the ATF uses to acquire their canines. Agnes was taken as a part of the Guide Dog Foundation. So she was originally slated to be a seeing eye dog for the blind. So they apparently have a very rigorous testing process. So if you have a mishap in one of that little bit of testing process, then they try and find a better home for you where you're going to be more suitable. So they contact the ATF. The ATF then goes down and runs a series of tests with the dog, practical testing things just to see if how food reliant they are, if they're suitable for the program that they're looking to use them for. So she was part of the Guide Dog Foundation. Didn't work out for her there. ATF went down and I think when they went down, and there was 4 dogs that they tested when they got her, and she's the only one they kept out of the 4 dogs. So
Wow.
and that,
Wow.
I was
Special.
fortunate enough to get her to bring home with me and to work with me for the next few years.
Excellent. So what kind of training did Agnes get in the training facility?
So the way that they do things down there at the ATF, they do odor recognition. So the beginning starts, they kind of have a squared off box, and it's the trainer and the canine in there. Come on. Good girl. And it's the canine and the trainer. And they basically, they'll put a little canister up to her snout there, and if she sniffs, they feed her, give her a treat, praise her, keep doing that until she knows the reaction of, okay, if I sniff this, I'm gonna eat. Then they teach her to sniff it and sit, and then it just progresses on to that into a different variation of different accelerants that could be used.
Excellent. So what kind of training did you get?
I did the same thing. They put a
Okay.
can to my face, and I had to sniff it too. No, but so they basically bring us down, and we have to learn how the dog reacts. We have to look for signs of a change of behavior for the dog to know that they have come across an odor. So we basically spend the next 6 weeks getting to know the dog, getting to know the dog's tells, basically, how they change their behavior when they notice there's an accelerant in the area.
Okay, so a lot of that involves, the dog being able to respond to you and you bonding with the dog. How do you go about bonding with Agnes?
Well, like I said, October 5th, I believe, was the date that her and I were paired up. So from October 5th till now, we have spent every minute of every day together, basically.
Wow.
So it's just, living habits. She's in my home now with me and my family and my wife and 2 girls. And the training part on a normal dog training thing is a little more difficult than you would think, because she's a working dog. She's not here to be a pet. She's not here to be a part of even though she is a part of my home and she's a very loving part of my home. She lays down like this with my girls every night. They lay and relax and snuggle on the couch and all that stuff. But at the same time, we have to train every day in what she does. She only eats when we train. So we train every day of the week, Saturdays, Sundays, holidays, everything. She has to train, because if she doesn't train, then she doesn't get to eat for the day.
Wow. And other than treats, reinforcing the traits you're looking for with treats, how do you get Agnes to listen to you? What are some other ways?
It's food.
It's
She's a strictly food reward dog.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
right now she's on a diet of about 3 cups a day, and so I have to, if we don't go to fires, which we do often enough here, we have to train to get to that so she can feed off of that 3 cups a day.
Wow. Interesting. Very. See,
Yeah,
this
so
is
she doesn't eat out of a bowl like a regular dog does.
okay.
She eats out of my hand every time.
Wow. Well, that's definitely good for training.
Yeah. Which is why she becomes pretty attached to me pretty quickly.
Okay. So, walk us through a fire response. All right. When you're responding to a fire, what is your role and what is Agnes's role? Just explain what it.
So the way it works now, we have the fire marshal's office is made up of about 11 investigators currently, and we're about to increase to 18, I think. So the way it works now is an initial investigator will go out, and they'll investigate the scene, and if they believe that it's an arson, in layman's terms, and there was an accelerant used, then they will call for the SIU team, and that'll be, me and Agnes will respond. And we'll walk through the property, make sure it's safe for her to go in, make sure it's safe for her to go and check the whole area out. We'll go in, we'll walk through the property, and she'll basically sniff around the whole entire house. And if she has a change of behavior and alerts on something, then we'll mark that spot. We'll go back in, I'll put her back up, we'll go in and we'll dig through that spot and take things, package them and send them off to the lab for chemical analysis.
Wow. And so after that response, that particular response, everything's done. Is that when Agnes eats?
No, she eats during it.
Oh, she eats
Yeah, so
okay.
when we walk through the place, and just for argument's sake, if we were to walk through here and say there was an accelerant type liquid used in this area here, she would come over, she would put her nose to it, she would sniff. And if there was something there, she would sit. She smells it and then sits. I acknowledge it. I feed her when she sits. Then I ask her to show me where she was at, and she'll put her nose right into it, and then I'll feed her another handful again.
Wow.
So every time that she alerts on something, she gets fed.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. So what determines? Well, you already kind of answered that. If investigator goes out and suspects that an accelerant was used, you guys are called.
Right.
SIU is called. Okay. So clearly, Agnes is a hard worker.
She is.
Right.
We've been really busy the last couple of weeks since we've been back.
Excellent. All right. But she's also a dog. So does she get time to play?
Absolutely.
Okay.
When we're not working, when we're not training, she's a regular dog. I mean,
Okay.
I'm kind of contradicting myself what I said a few minutes ago, but she does get the ability to go out in the yard and play in the yard. And we have a neighbor dog, and they come over to the yard and they play, run around. You know, she gets as much time as she needs to play and be a regular dog.
Excellent, excellent. Now, what about vacation time? Vacation time, sick time?
We're going to figure that out.
Uh-huh.
Right now, we're just trying to get through the basics of learning, and we're fortunate here in the city. So Agnes is a part of this system. She is now the second dog.
Oh, okay.
So forever, we've only had one dog, and that would have been Lieutenant Juarez and currently Dona.
Okay.
And Chance before her. So right now she's getting, we're still in training.
Yeah.
You know, we're fortunate to have Lieutenant Juarez here to guide us through the whole process because he's been doing this for 13 years now.
Wow.
So.
Wow. Wow. And as far as, so I'm assuming that Agnes is a lab. She's a Labrador?
She is. She's a black lab, yes.
Black lab. Okay. So question in terms of how do they determine what, I know at one point it was people were using Dalmatians. Fire departments were using Dalmatians.
So the Dalmatian thing is a little tricky. The Dalmatian thing was more of a mascot, and I could be wrong about this, but that was more of a protection dog on the trucks to keep people from taking things off the trucks. So the detection aspect, there are different kinds of dogs used for detection. One of our partners over in Jersey has a German Shepherd that he uses. And then we have another partner up in Norristown that uses a mixed breed. But the ATF's program, they prefer to use the Labradors because of their temperament, because they know we're going to be around settings like this where there's going to be other people around. You know, we have to go into schools, do different demonstrations for kids and stuff like that, so they just figure the temperament of the lab is more important than anything else in their program.
All right, it makes sense. Makes sense. All right, well, Lieutenant Cliggott, I want to thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So we're going to take a short break. When we return, we'll be joined by Lieutenant Kevin Hopkins to focus on holiday safety when it comes to decorations, candles, trees, and heat. Stay tuned. From Fire.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel you attract people who tend to be compulsive or abusive?
Do you have money problems because of someone else's drinking?
Are you afraid or embarrassed to bring your friends home?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
More than half of all adults have a family history of alcoholism.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
Al-Anon and
and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
I drive 65,000 miles each year in my bus. If people knew what I know, lives could be saved. You don't want to be in the blind spot of a 40,000-pound bus when I have less than a second to react. I do what I can by changing lanes and taking turns slowly. It really helps when people look out for me too. Give me room to operate safely. It's our roads, it's our safety.
As birthplace to the first volunteer fire companies, Philadelphia is home to one of the nation's premier fire museums. Fireman's Hall Museum displays the city's fire history in addition to promoting fire safety. You can visit Fireman's Hall Museum in Old City at 147 North 2nd Street. Visit firemanshallmuseum.org to learn more, or watch the museum's show, Curator's Corner, on LaSalle TV.
Welcome back to Freedom from Fire. I'm your host, firefighter Camila Bayete-Taylor. Joining us now is Lieutenant Kevin Hopkins with our Fire Prevention Unit. Lieutenant Hopkins, thank you so much for joining us today.
Good afternoon, Camilla. Thank you.
Absolutely. So good to have you back on the show. All right.
Thank you.
But for people who haven't seen you before, didn't see you last season, tell us a little bit about yourself and your role with the Fire Prevention Unit.
Okay, I'm an 18-year veteran with the Philadelphia Fire Department, and I currently serve in the department's Fire Prevention Division, and we're tasked with educating the public on fire prevention and fire safety.
Excellent. All right, so there are many aspects of what we do in fire prevention, and with every season comes different concerns, right? So now we're going into holiday season. Tell us what kind of calls we tend to see during this time of year.
Well, with the change of weather, we typically begin to experience some cold weather related responses. They're related to citizens trying to heat their homes alternatively other than their heating areas. So that's some of the typical responses we've seen. Also, as we head into the Christmas season, there's also related responses to holiday decorations, safety, things like that, improper use of candles, improper care and negligence in for caring for Christmas trees, things like that. So.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad you brought all those things up, because we're going to go dive a little bit deeper into some of those things. So let's talk about Christmas trees. What are some of the safety guidelines that we should follow when it comes to a real tree or a live tree?
Well, when it comes to, first of all, for whether it be live or a real tree, we real or artificial tree, that's what I meant to say. You want to be sure that it's kept at least 3 foot from any type of heat source, be it a radiator, space heater, a fireplace, things like that. When relative to the real tree, one of the key things we see is neglecting to water the tree and keep it moist. Tends to dry the tree out and make it more flammable. So you want to water it daily, the tree, to make sure it keeps its moisture. You want to try to avoid overloading electrical cords and outlets when you're decorating the tree, plugging it in. And also you want to use only qualified testing lab lighting or cords. Typical one you'll see is UL approved or Underwriters Laboratory. So that's been tested. That indicates it's been tested by that laboratory. And also, if there's a particular, you might find your lights from the previous year might have broken bulbs or a frayed cord. You just want to dispose of that. Don't try to repair or just get rid of it and purchase new. Yeah. Okay,
so you kind of touched on where I was going next with lights, whether it be indoor or outdoor. The things that we should know and be aware of when we're using them. You mentioned bulbs. So if a bulb is, the light's going out on a bulb, or like you have a string of lights and a few of them are out and you don't have replacement bulbs, is it best to just throw those out?
I found out, it is best, but also my experience, and I'm sure the viewers could could attest to. Trying to find that one bulb that's burned out and replacing it could be difficult. So my experience is it's easier just to buy a new set and keep it safe too.
Yes.
You want to keep it safe, yeah.
So what's the safest way to plug in lights and decorations?
Well, you want to plug those directly into an outlet if you can. I know, as you're stringing multiple sets of lights together, you want to try to not overload those. Typically, I try to keep 3 or 4 sets of low voltage lighting continuous, but no more than that.
Okay. Now, as far as candles, getting into candles, you mentioned candles. Many people who observe Hanukkah and Kwanzaa will be lighting candles as part of their celebrations this year. So let's talk a little bit about candle safety and what kinds of things we should be paying attention to.
Okay, with the candles, you want to, once again, make sure they're kept, an open flame is kept 3 feet from any combustible material, okay? You should be kept out of the hands of children. Don't let the children out of the reach, too, the reach of little children. You don't want your children handling the candles. You might want to consider using battery-operated candles. Some of them are really realistic these days that they're selling in the stores. They can be mistaken for actual candles, the flame flickering. So there's some important things. Also, with the menorahs and that are often used at this time, and the Knorrs, is it called, for Kwanzaa they use?
Knorrs, yeah.
Yeah, you want to try to make sure that they're kept in a sturdy base. If you're using real candles, you want to be kept on a flat surface. Once again, you want to keep those away from any combustible materials. If you're placing them in the windows, keep them away from curtains and blinds. Yeah, and then once again, consider using those authentic-looking battery-operated candles are great options.
Absolutely. Yeah, so slight correction, I said Kinara. So it's Kinaras
I'm getting educated, thank you.
Yeah, and then menorahs for Hanukkah.
Yes.
Menorahs, yes. So that's good that you mentioned that. And actually, a couple episodes ago, Leo Masonette was on the show with a mock stovetop, and you got to see, the demonstration of him using it. The flames look very realistic.
Yes.
So that just kind of, solidifies your point of a lot of candles these days, the ones that are battery operated can look very realistic.
Yes.
And they're very safe.
Amen.
A lot safer, yes. So what other important information should we be aware of as we go into celebrating the holidays?
Well, along with, as previously mentioned, with the cold weather, changing temperatures, it's really important to be aware of heating safety. Keeping combustibles, once again, 3 feet away from any heat source, whether it be your radiator, fireplace, or space heater. You have your heater serviced by a certified technician to make sure it's up and running every year, running properly. Also, we want to be mindful of cooking. A lot of cooking and baking happens around this time of year. Traditionally, people who may not normally cook or bake are firing up their ovens, and they want to do something special for the holidays. So we want to be mindful with that. Often, my experience is sometimes people store things in their stove or oven and then haven't used it in so long they fire it up, and whatever's in there I've seen owner's manuals stuffed in the drawer of a stove be ignited, and because they hadn't used their oven in so long, it just ignited and they had a fire. So once again, you want to be mindful of children around when you're cooking. You don't want to leave anything unattended on the stovetop. You want to definitely have a working smoke detector on every level of your home, all right, and test it regularly. Philadelphia residents can obtain free smoke detectors by contacting 311 and having the fire department come out and install them in their homes. So, and we used to remember when you used to do change your clock, change your battery. Well, The current smoke detectors are 10-year lithium batteries where you don't have to change the battery. In fact, you can't change the battery. It's a sealed unit with a 10-year lithium battery. And also you want to have a working carbon monoxide detector too on every level of your home, especially outside a living compartment, which would be your bedroom. So to alert you of an odorless gas that can build
monoxide,
up.
yes. And where should, and well, tell us, okay, tell the viewers, like where should we be placing, when we're placing smoke alarms, where is the best place to place them when you're doing one on every floor? And then also the best place to, with the carbon monoxide alarms.
Okay, so you want to place them on the highest point, basically, because heat and smoke rise. So you want to have them in any hallways where it's going to progress up to a highest point. Outside of living quarters, again, same with the carbon monoxide detectors. You want to have, I've particularly myself, I keep one in the basement because that's where most of my carbon burning appliances are, be it the hot water heater and my home heater, the furnace. So also, you don't want to, well, I'll tell you not to put a smoke detector in your kitchen because of cooking, it's going to continuously go off. It's okay to put one outside the kitchen, but not very close. And also, we found some people choose to put them in the bathroom. That's another no-no because the steam of the shower sometimes activates the smoke detector. So, yeah, particularly you want those in the living, near living quarters. And ideally, you can put them inside your bedroom also in the living quarters for additional security and to alert you of any potential smoke in the home. So.
Excellent, excellent. So again, one in every room, or at least one on every floor. More is better though. So if you want them in your bedrooms, that's even better.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much, Lieutenant Hopkins, for joining us today. All right.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So for more fire safety guidelines, visit phila.gov/fire. And if you would like to keep up with our show, Freedom from Fire, look for us on Verizon Channel 36, Comcast Channel 56, and LaSalle TV's YouTube page. Also, check out Fireman's Hall Museum, located at 147 North 2nd Street, and meet with our museum curator, firefighter Brian Anderson. I would like to once again thank our guests for joining us today. I would also like to thank you for tuning in and watching. We wish you and your family a safe and joyous holiday season. Until next time, remember, fire is everyone's fight. Stay safe and remain free from fire.